All right. Hey, it's Matt, BlindGuysGarage. It's probably been 3 or 4 days since y'all saw me in the shop. But last thing we was working on, I believe, was that Ford Explorer, or maybe I don't know what order I'm gonna put the videos out in. But I was working on a Ford Explorer, and I was tearing down an LS motor and getting ready to put it back together. Well, I just decided to send the LS motor up to the machine shop. So here's all his pieces and parts. Ignore how I have this thing chained up right this moment, but it looks a lot better than just pressure washing it off in the driveway, doesn't it? It needs to be cleaned again, but here we are for now. There's the LS motor, a little sneak peek. Cylinder heads, rods, crank, you know. So now we'll get back on the 4-liter. I'd much prefer working with LS, but here we are. So we got everything back from the machine shop. It actually came back really quick, so we're not starting a different project, thank Lord, because if you look at my shop right now, I'll give you a slow panoramic view. This place is a disaster. I gotta get these engines put together so that I can actually do something, because I've got parts in places. Everything on the workbench goes to this motor, everything here goes to this motor. So here we are. Got the 4-liter heads back from the machine shop. They look good, clean, nice. I mean, you know, not upset with none of it. Turn it around. We'll blow off the camshafts and all before we put them in the motor, obviously, just to make sure there's no trash in the head and all. Just run a blower through it. Here's the other head right here. You know, there's brake clean. So now what we'll do, we'll just run a little brake cleaner across the surface of the head. Make sure there's no paint. I mean, not paint. Make sure there's no grease or grime on the face of the head. There it is. So both those heads will be cleaned up, and then we'll get air, blow them off, and get ready to put them on that joker over there. See it right there? That joker, that ugly joker. Now let's go over to the ugly joker. So we'll pull this head gasket off, throw it out. And as you can tell, I've scraped the block down with a razor blade real good. The firing rings turned out really nice on the block, or not firing rings on the block, but where the firing ring seals on the block, it's clean. A little dirt and debris here and there. I'm gonna wipe it down one more time with some brake clean or some acetone and call it a day. We'll walk to the other side real quick. There's the other side. I'm not gonna come all the way in there, but you know, it turned out pretty good. Just wipe it down with some brake clean or acetone and we'll put it together. So now I'm gonna take an air hose, blow these heads off, and I'll bring you back once it's time to set a head on the motor. All right, I think I showed you this while I was taking it apart, but either way, we'll show you as we're going back together, just in case if somebody wants to watch that first video. So, since I don't have all the special alignment tools, we'll have to use a screwdriver to align the camshafts, and I'll show you how we do that. So what we'll do, this is the driver's side cylinder head. So what you're going to do is you're going to lay your screwdriver right here in this hole, and you want the screwdriver to be parallel with the deck surface of the rail. If it doesn't, you can turn it just a little bit and set it. So now you see, so the notch should be below halfway, and the screwdriver should be parallel with the valve cover rail right here. Let's see if I can see. The screwdriver should be parallel with this valve cover rail right here. Sorry, I'm trying to do it one-handed, but there you go. This one's set. So now we'll come to the passenger side head, and we'll check him. He is not set. You see the notches? They're at this angle here. So we'll have to get something. All right. As you can tell, I had to pull up my vice grips, my big duck bills, clip it right there. There's a spot on the camshaft for a wrench, which for some reason I can't find my, I think it's 26 millimeter wrench. Open end. I've got a box end, but I don't have an open end, which I didn't find it the last time I was working on it either. So now you'll line this up, set it even with the deck surface, and that cam's in time. Now let's double check this one. Come over here, line it up, set it even with the deck surface, valve cover rail, whatever, and that cam's in time. So now both our camshafts are in time, and we're ready to put these heads on. So let's start with this one. We've already come up here and I've wiped everything with WD-40, brake clean, As you can tell, this piston is about wiped clean, real close to it. Got a gasket sitting on it. What I did is I zip tied these together to hold the cam gears in place so they wouldn't fall out when I was assembling and disassembling here. So all I'll have to do is reach in there and cut the zip tie and pull it back out. I did the same thing on this side over here. So we'll start right here on this head and get her on. All right, got the head. So now go up, over, and slide this baby down right there. Kind of go around the timing guide there. It's kind of a pain in the tail, obviously. You can tell I ain't done this job before because I ain't got no methods in doing it. And we'll set the head on. There's dowel pins in the block. We'll set the head on the dowel pins. There's one. All right, rubber mallet. We'll just tap it right here on the pan rail. There it is. There it is. So now we'll just come to this side, make sure she's down. And this side, make sure she's down. There we go. So our head's installed. Now we'll get the cylinder head bolts and bolt them down. All right, now what I'll do, get my little oiler, and I'm gonna put a little bit of oil right here where the face of the head bolt sits at, just to be sure everything's gonna be happy. There you go. Much prefer to have some oil on there and make the bolts seat nice. All right. All right, and then for good measure, we'll go around the head of the bolt here. We'll oil each one of them as well. Because the last thing you want is a bolt binding on you when you're putting this stuff together. All right, so now what we're gonna do is gonna just grab the mini impact, just gonna run these up till they touch. Every one of them just till they touch. Save them ratcheting on everything. Oop, that was a little bit more than touched. All right, so now we've got all these just zipped on. We went and found our special socket. So we're gonna torque these at 25 foot-pounds in sequence, which is here, 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 here. No, sorry. Sequence is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Done. So now let's do it. One. Two. 8. And now we'll hit, they want 90, 90 on them. So just go across and do a few of these. I don't know how much I'll keep on camera for, but we're going 90 degrees. So I don't need my angle gauge for 90 degrees. And if you do, I can't help you. 90. 90. 90. 90. Now, one more 90. This next round is going to be tight. These are stretch bolts, or torque to yield, I think is what they call them. There we go. Make sure the socket's in good for this one. Oh, motor rotated. We're not quite 90 yet, though. There's 90. And let's keep going. $90. All right, this head's done. So, that's not done actually. I got the two, I think they're called M8s, or basically a 10mm star head bolt. I don't know exactly what the size of a reverse star. And those will get torqued at 24 foot-pounds. All right, here's our two little B bolts. They drop here and down there. We'll drop this one in. Make sure you drop it in the hole and not down the motor, because that would make for a very bad day. Same thing, we'll move the cassette up, out the way. Once again, make sure you drop it in the hole where it belongs and not down the motor, because Makes for a bad day. We'll run them all the way in. And we'll torque these 24 foot-pounds. Beep. Beep. Just kidding. But point being, 24 foot-pounds ain't that much. Little bolts, tighten them good and snug. It's not that important. These two, I mean, they're important, don't get me wrong. They are important, but they're not as important as them head bolts. Those are good. So now let's get the chain bolted back to the head the way it belongs. So we'll have to cut that zip tie off. All right, before we do anything else, we're going to double check our timing marks one last time. Here's our first timing mark. It ain't moved from when I took it apart, so that's exactly where it was. Go around to the back of the head, grab my screwdriver. One last time. Check the cylinder head here. And there you go. She's flat and level like she's supposed to be. Well, that's going to be bad, I bet. Alright, just to show you, nothing bad actually happened with that. My pliers just apparently moved on the camshaft. So, here we go. Let's see. There we go. Check the cam. Everything's still lined up just like it's supposed to be. Now, let's go around the front. We'll torque it down. Alright, well, the manual says 63 foot-pounds. Let's double check the torque wrench, make sure it's on. I don't know if I'll go much farther than this either way, so I'm kind of freaked out here. I'm right there. There we go. We're there. Now, that's 63 foot-pounds. Double check all our timing marks. Make sure everything's right. All right, the head is dead up where it belongs. Check the crankshaft. It's right where she belongs, or right where she was when I started. So that head is done. Now we'll go to this head. All right, and we're back on a little Ford 4.0 V6. So here's the lowdown real quick. I want to let you know what's going on. So what happened? I got in the house after, I think the last thing I did was I torqued these camshafts down and walked away, and we checked it with a screwdriver, so it's good. Well, okay, here's the deal. Got in the house, had to think about it, and said, I'm gonna order the camshaft tool. I want to be 100% sure it's right. I don't do these that often. Actually, I don't do these at all. I've done some others that have some oddball stuff going on with them. So I ordered the camshaft tool, and I was actually damn right. Okay, I had it right. Everything was set good. But I'm gonna show you how to use the camshaft tool real quick for those who may have not seen it or may need to know. All right, first thing, you get a crankshaft locator. So what it does is it clips on the gear right here. Let's see if I can roll around this side. There's a gear right here on the crankshaft right here. You may or may not be able to see it very well. Then you got your timing mark right here. Lines up with the timing mark. All right. And it clips in, and there's a big hole on the top of the crank, which you won't be able to see even if I took it off. Right here. So you won't be able to see it even if I took it off. And this thing lines up, locks in, and then what you do is you press it against the bottom of the block. And that is what holds the timing in place. Now, we'll go up here to this timing chain right here. All right. Here's our camshaft tool. What it does is it bolts in right here in the rail, in the valve cover rail right here. It's got a notch. You'll see it right here. See the notch? And that locks into the back of the camshaft. I haven't moved any of this. This is where it was when I set it that night. But peace of mind says do it. So you set this in, and there it is. You bolt it down with these two bolts, and then you'll tighten this nut down right here. This will center the camshaft up, because this plate here gets pulled into the pan rail. I mean, not the pan rail, the valve cover rail. So you tighten these two down, pull it down in, and you'll tighten this nut up, and it'll straighten that camshaft up right there, and lock it down at the same time. Now, see if I can show you this. All right, see? It just slides right in and locks into that cam, just like that. See if I can show that one more time. right there, and it just locks right in. So as you can tell, I have this cam lined up dead perfect. The other one is exactly the same. All I did was lay it up there, tighten these 2 bolts, and everything was perfect. So I didn't have to move it. And of course, you'll torque these at 63 foot-pounds. The cool thing is that tool comes with a hold down, and it bolts on and locks on this cam right here, and it holds it right here in the front. So you can torque these that way if you choose to. I still did it the other way, torqued them 63. I say I still did it the other way. I would still do it the other way just for me, 63 foot-pounds. And we know everything's right. There he is. So this thing works real simple. As long as you put the alignment tool on, set your timing tab right here, wherever it's at, right there. Set your timing tab there. Put this pulley, this cam tool on here. It'll line the cam up, lock it down, put a timing tensioner in right here, just like that. Torqued it at 63 foot-pounds, and that's it. It's really a pretty simple setup. So from here, I'll bring you back once I've got this motor finished assembled, or I won't, I don't know, we'll see. But either way, you'll see it going in the truck.